Yeah, sis and tell, a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand up, Alison's on TV, and when they hop on the phone, it's the place you wanna be. Sis and tell.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Well, I am refreshed because I had the most amazing weekend with my friends Leanne and Amy. We had a girls' weekend where we went to Destin and stayed at Mommy and Daddy's condo, and we did not have kids.
You act like you created this concept. You're literally talking as if you've all of a sudden, it's like you're the inventor of Wikipedia or Google or Yahoo. You're like, it's called a girls' weekend.
But that's how it felt, and I don't think I've ever done anything like that. And my kids are old.
What?
You know?
You've never done a girls' weekend?
No, I've never done a girls' weekend.
Oh, then you almost does feel like you sort of invented it. Oh my gosh.
We're all fully vaxxed, I want to say, and the beach was pretty empty. We went out and hung out on the beach, and right next to us was a bachelorette party, which we were so excited about. And we thought they were so much younger than us, but they were like literally either our age or a few years younger.
Oh, good for them.
So my friend Amy was like, okay, what are y'all doing tonight? She wanted to know like everything they were doing. They even had special whistles, and you can imagine what the whistles looked like for a bachelorette party. Yes. And
a whistle? Like
a whistle. Yeah.
Okay.
People love when you have a bachelorette party. People will buy anything in the shape of a penis for it.
Oh, that's
okay. Yes. So I don't know why you needed a whistle, but anyways, they were playing the best music, and then Amy's like, "We're gonna go do whatever they're doing," and then she's like, starts talking to them. She goes, "What do you?" This is when we like turned right back into mom. She goes, "We were thinking of going to Forever 21 and getting matching outfits. What do you think about that?" And then
about going to Forever 21 or the matching outfits?
I think
both sound a little fishy, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'm like, oh my God, please stop asking them if we should go to Forever 21, because the answer is yes, we should go to Forever 21. And there was this there's this other couple, this man and this woman hanging out, and the girls kept on the women from the bachelorette party kept on going up to him and like dancing with him. And later I was like, I thought that was so weird that they kept on doing that. Don't you
think, to a random man on the beach with his wife?
Well, they were. I didn't know if they were husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, but I just thought it was not. I just thought it was kind of rude that they would go pay attention to this man, and they were like dancing in front of him. And they're like, Amanda, they were brother and sister. And I'm like, well, how did you know? They're like, and he was gay. And I was like, how did you know? They're like, you didn't notice his tank top that had in red sequins on it, hot boy lover? And I was like, no, I didn't.
So there is a probability that maybe he was encouraging them to come and dance with him, and you just missed that part. I
totally missed the tank top, which in retrospect seems totally obvious, because I remember seeing red lettering. I just never read it. And then we went into the water, and we see this person really far out, and we're both like, this looks dangerous. Why are they swimming this far out? And we didn't. They looked like they were doing the breaststroke, though, right? So it looked like they went out.
By the way, nobody can see what you just did, but you didn't do the breaststroke. So
that was more doggy paddling.
Yeah, it was more like a doggy paddle. Yeah, breaststroke is this. So
no, okay. What's the one that's that?
That's
crawling.
Freestyle. The crawl.
Freestyle.
The crawl.
They're doing freestyle, but we were like, did they get pulled out in a current? And we got super worried. This is why we couldn't help but be moms. Amy got out of the water and went up to the lifeguard.
Oh, please tell me she went to the bachelorette party and grabbed their penis whistle and said, you must come back.
The lifeguard's like, no, I'm also watching her. And if she was in distress, she would be doing this. Like, there are all these signs. But then we get out of the water, and this is like 15 minutes later. The lifeguard's still there. The bachelorette party's very interested in him. I mean, he is like Baywatch lifeguard looking, Right. He's got the truck with the surfboard on it and everything. So they,
You really are having a quintessential girls' weekend. I
know.
gotta have to hand it to you.
And this was just 30 minutes on the beach, by the way. This is just a 30-minute time span.
This is 30 minutes out of your 4 days. Okay.
And then we see like a Sea-Doo that had like capsized. It had like turned over. So we're all watching the lifeguard watching them. He gets out his binoculars, and then the bachelorette party starts cheering him on. He takes off his shirt and then takes the little, his like board, his surfboard that he uses to like Baywatch style.
Yeah.
He runs into the water. The bachelorette party erupts into cheer. And then I think they start feeling a little guilty because they're like, "Oh, he's actually going to go
saving
save
a life."
someone."
Yeah.
So they start cheering, "We hope she's okay. We hope she's okay."
Oh my gosh, that is so weird.
I know, it was so funny. I captured it on video.
Did he save her?
They were fine. They just, right side upped the Sea-Doo, and the boat came by, and they were fine. But it was like a moment.
Which, by the way, to try to get out to where a Sea-Doo might be on your little board, as
he was fast.
He was. Feels like there's a lot to get over those waves. Like it takes a while.
It wasn't, it was wavy, but nothing crazy. I mean, you're thinking of literally Baywatch, which is different. That
Hawaiian
the
grade
Pacific Ocean
waves,
is like,
right.
I think, a lot rougher than Gulf of Mexico
the Gulf.
waves. Yeah. So. Yeah, we actually did remark about how quick he was. He was very quick, and he was sprightly. He's young, so he's quicker than we would have been. I would have been like, "I'm coming." We would have gotten, Amy, Leanne, and I, we would have, if we had to, we would have saved some lives.
Yeah, I bet. I'm just laughing because I'm trying to think, like, for the past 25, 30 years, probably since I graduated college, I've done a girls' weekend at least one a year, if not multiple ones a year, with different groups of friends. So how have you not capitalized on this concept sooner?
You know what? I did do 2 girls' weekends. You're right, with college friends. We went to Chicago one year and Austin another. But so 3, I think, in my entire lifespan. I have to be honest that I'm not that into, there's not a lot of people I want to travel with, right?
See, now we're getting to the crux of the problem.
Yeah. I'd rather go with Aaron. But that's not always possible when you have kids, because in order to go travel with your spouse, you've got to go get people to watch your little people.
Right. Well, and I'm not talking about, you necessarily have to go somewhere foreign or exotic, but there is something really special and sacred about just spending quality, even 24, 48 hours with your girlfriends and not doing anything. Like last year obviously was an off year because of COVID. I only went on one girls trip. So, but I have all these others that are on hold, and we usually do a girls trip with my college roommates. And this summer, I'm even like, look, I'll come to you. We can just stay in your house, and we can get, a couple bottles of wine, and we can and a bag of chips, which is my favorite, and just talk for 48 hours. I don't care. Like, we don't have to be doing anything just to be together, because I think that's something, as much as I love also to travel with my spouse, but there's just something I think that you get out of being with the special women in your life that you don't get with anybody else.
100%. Yeah. And I do like girls' night out, here. I do stuff, and we did a ton of talking. We talked the entire time. We have so many inside jokes. And guess what? We ended up going to Forever 21, and when we stepped in, we were like, no.
Oh, you
no,
didn't get the matching outfits? Oh, no.
Not from Forever 21.
Oh, no. You did get matching outfits?
We did get, and it was happenstance. We, like, everything had started, we were in Destin Commons, which is like this shopping area, and they have like, I think Leanne pointed out, they literally, like, Destin has every single store possible. You name it and it's there.
Right.
So, but everything was like, it was like 7:00 at night. So a lot of stuff was shut down, and there was this one boutique, and we walked into it, and they had a buy 2, get 1 free, right? Which immediately we're like, oh, what can we get 3 of? And we found this dress that was in 5 different colors, like bridesmaids dresses. So we got it. We all picked out our colors, and we all looked good in this dress, right? We all look good. And we all have, we're all different heights and have different body types, and we all look so good. We look so good.
See, this is the difference between my friends and your friends. You're getting matching clothing. We're getting matching Yetis. I'm
Oh,
like, here we
God.
go. Everybody have a different color so we know whose drink is whose.
That's funny. No, yeah, we did end up going out to like an outdoor bar, and that's when things got very Florida.
I'm sure. Very
It was
perfectly panhandle.
pandemic panhandle.
Yeah.
I've never had so much anxiety. First of all, the guys were super young and they were all ogling us, and it was so uncomfortable. And I wanted to be like, I am the same age as your mother, right? I didn't say that, but they were it was so creepy. And I was designated driver. We couldn't get a Lyft or an Uber. There was like no Lyft or Uber in Destin.
Wow.
And I didn't, I was like, I also don't like necessarily trust Lyft or Uber to drive me, right? It doesn't mean they're better drivers.
Like
They
you don't
could
trust them ever, or you don't trust during COVID because you feel unsafe?
both. I'd say both, like especially like just because you're getting into a Lyft doesn't mean you're getting in with a safe driver,
Right, right.
right? And so first of all, it was super expensive to go 3 miles. It was like $25.
Yeah.
And there were no lifts. So, and I didn't necessarily feel like going out at 10:30 at night. So I was like, I'm going to be the designated driver and we're just going to go. So we went out to this bar and we went to the outdoor area, and this guy comes up to me as I'm waiting for my friends to get a drink, and he gets in my face and he goes, "You're not smiling.
Oh gosh.
Why aren't you smiling? Is it because you're waiting for your drink?" And I'm looking at him, and he has got, what makes this worse, not only is he not wearing a mask and like in my face, he has got a wad of dip hanging out of his lips. I was like, okay, let's upgrade this disgustingness. And here we go.
Ugh.
I just couldn't even, I was like, I can't, I just ignored him and gave him this like, get the heck away from me stare. It was gross.
That is
So,
gross. Well, I had a great weekend too because Mommy and Daddy came to Chattanooga for the first time since they came for my birthday, and we had a safe and socially distance, for my 50th. And they haven't been here since September. They live in Birmingham, so they're 2 hours away. It's not a hard drive, but they hadn't seen Levi since November, so that was really fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but I bring this up because it also, I made a mental note to bring this up to you to see what you think, because I have an etiquette question for you.
Okay.
So I feel like I know what you're going to say, but still, I'd like to just crowdsource this for a bit. So they wanted to go, as Mommy says, somewhere fun. I put it in quotes, for lunch. And so I got us a little reservation at this fairly new to them restaurant. It's a couple years old here, in a newer building in town. And so we're at lunch, and in the middle of lunch, Daddy's phone rings. And not only is it his phone, it is his FaceTime. And what does he do? But he answers it because it's Stuart, our brother. And he's like, "Well, hey, Bubba, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, Dad," and then he's like showing me over at lunch with Allie, whatever. Finally, I figured Daddy was just saying, "Hey, we're in lunch. Let me call you back." That doesn't happen. They just continue to talk, and Mommy's talking this. And of course, when you talk on the phone, I don't think people realize it's a different level, a noise level. Even if you
Yes.
think you're talking at the same level, you're
Louder.
not. You're projecting in a different way. So people can tell you're on the phone and not just loudly talking to the guests across from you. So they're still talking. And finally, I feel like, talking about turning into the mom mode, I'm like, "Daddy, tell him you'll call him back later. We're in the middle of lunch." He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yes.
So he hangs up, "Stuart, I'll call you later." Oh, he goes, "Okay, that's fine. I was just checking in." So he hangs up, and I'm like, "Seriously?" I was like, you really shouldn't answer the phone." And then Daddy's justification was not that it's Stuart calling. Well, he was FaceTiming. I go, "And you really shouldn't pick up a FaceTime in the middle of lunch. I don't really understand. Is there something I'm missing? Like, should I have been less annoyed by this interaction, or do you think that is sort of a cardinal rule that you really shouldn't answer the phone, and especially not FaceTime in the middle unless it's an emergency, of course.
Right. So I understand them answering it because it was Stuart and doing a quick, "Hey, look who we're at lunch with. Okay, we'll call you back later." But that was not the
That's
case.
what I was anticipating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And I find myself parenting and educating on technology do's and don'ts, not only with my kids, but with mommy and daddy constantly. Right. And we're so stuck in the middle with this is what you don't do with everyone. And but I'm on the same page as you. In fact, I was in line returning something. There was a woman behind me with her phone on speakerphone, and she's having this loud conversation. And if it had been in a language that I had understood, I would have started talking with the other person. Right. I think that would have been
just engaging. Right.
Yeah. I would have started to engage, like being like, I know that's a little passive aggressive, but I would try to have been funny.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just so she knew, like, her conversation was not private. It happened to be private because I didn't know what they were saying.
Right.
Right?
She's speaking in a foreign language. Yes.
She's speaking another language. And, but it was so, yeah, I think people are extra loud. And I thought this woman was too old to be doing something like that. Right. Like a teenager maybe doesn't know better or doesn't care because they're a teenager. But she was like easily in her late 30s. And I'm like, you should know better than this. This is not like, but also, why would you want to be on speakerphone having a public conversation like that?
No, it's so weird. At least have like headphones or something.
But it's not the same thing as you're with me in line and we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the other person probably doesn't know that everyone can hear what she's saying.
Well, I'm sure mommy and daddy are listening to this thinking, well, it was Bubba and it allowed him to be part of our lunch so that his little face could sit at the table. He couldn't enjoy a beverage or something to eat, but he enjoyed our conversation and our company. That was the point of it.
I bet mommy would say, I know, isn't that terrible?
No, they were both, I really thought it was going to be one of those, look who we're eating with, I'll call you right back. It didn't feel like it was going in that direction unless I intervened. So anyway, It was pretty funny.
Now, I have a friend and she will remain nameless, but whenever I've gone out to any sort of meal with her, just hung out with her, anytime her phone rings, she answers it.
Yeah.
And
really?
I'm like, all right, no, we're pretty clear on how you feel about whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe they're clueless, but I'd find it incredibly off-putting.
No,
right?
I think teenagers get thrown under the bus for this all the time. I think adults are way worse because number one, we know better. And number two, we lived through an era where we didn't need technology at our disposal.
Right.
I'm actually facilitating a session for a group out of Detroit next week. And they're like, anything that we should tell them about the session. I said, I'm a firm believer that people can't meet your expectations unless you set them. And I know it's really hard to concentrate, especially over Zoom. And I'm the worst because it's Zoom. I'm at my computer and I can check my text or my email. I can Google, I can go shop. I can do a lot of things and nobody's going to know any different. I said, so let's set that stage, that presence, right? Your presence is just as important as being present. That how you show up and that you're really focused. And that's hard. It's hard when we're used to sitting down at our desk and multitasking as a norm and not as the exception.
Especially this year, right?
Yeah.
We've gotten so used to it.
So I had another question for you that came
Okay.
up while mommy and daddy were here. Totally different than the etiquette question, but thank you for answering that. So we were talking about, I have all sorts of pain relievers in my house, Aleve and Tylenol and Advil, etc. So mommy said something about, you should really for this, because Levi was getting his second shot and they recommend specifically Tylenol
Yes.
for when you get your vaccination to alleviate pain or symptoms. So I said, yeah. And I said, well, I have Tylenol here from when we get back. And she said, but is it extra strength? And I said, I'm pretty sure that's all they have now. So then it made me look at the bottle though. And of course it did say extra strength Tylenol. And I thought, is there regular strength Tylenol?
And children's Tylenol.
Yeah, there's it's children's, which is probably just the liquid version of extra strength. And it's extra strength. Should they just drop the extra strength and just call it Tylenol? Because who wants to use regular strength? I want extra everything.
There must be, I'm sure they've had some sort of, what is it? Not forum, but when they get a bunch of people together and question them about a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
What is that? It's like a research study, but it's like a simple word. It's really,
it is.
I had too much fun at that girls' weekend. You know what What is it called?
Well, you're putting me on the spot. No, I can't think of
Does
it.
it start with an F?
I can picture them all in the room, and even like a
Right.
one-way mirror where they're
Right.
a focus group.
Focus group.
Yeah.
See, it did start with an F.
Yeah.
So the focus groups, I'm sure that it's Tylenol, right? So I'm sure they did a focus group testing.
Well, especially, so I don't know if you're too young to remember, but when there was the Tylenol scare,
Yes.
it's amazing that Tylenol came back.
It was children's Tylenol specifically.
Was
I
it
think.
children's? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was extra strength. I thought there
Was it?
I thought there was like cyanide or there's
Something had been tampered with.
something had been tampered with. Yeah. And so I'm thinking if it made me think back to those days where I thought, wow, if Tylenol could get past that PR crisis nightmare and come full force. And I wonder if then it was extra strength forever. I don't know. I know nobody cares about this, but just made me think, of course it's extra strength. All right, last thing. You ready? Last digression of the day. And this has nothing to do with Mommy and Daddy's visit. This I saw on the Today Show this morning, and it made me very excited. Guess what's coming out today?
Oh, I don't know.
The new Barbie Dream House.
Oh, does it have solar panels?
I don't know. I did notice a slide. I think it was 3 or 4 stories tall, and it made me think, I don't think I ever owned a Barbie Dream House. Did you?
No, I did not own a Barbie dream house. You know what I also wanted? Hungry Hippo, and I never got that.
Oh, I love Hungry Hippo.
Every year, Mommy and Daddy, it was so fun. I don't even know if they did this or Stuart and I decided to do this on our own, but we would get the Toys R Us catalog right before Hanukkah, and we'd go through it and we'd circle what we wanted. And
it was like getting the book, the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yes. Oh my God. And I always wanted Hungry Hippo. They never got it for me. So when I had kids, I'm like, I'm going to get them Hungry Hippo. And then they played Hungry Hippo. And I'm like, this is why my parents didn't get me Hungry Hippo. It is the loudest toy ever. It is
because those hippos are loud eaters, huh?
Yes, and they're aggressive. Hippos are not. And Aaron and I one time got into a discussion about Hungry Hippos, and I said they are not docile creatures. They are. They're super aggressive, which is why it makes sense that
the plastic version is just imitating the real life version. Yeah.
Can I tell you, and I don't know if this happens to you, but it may be because I'm a comedian and I literally write jokes in my dreams. I will have these dreams where I come up with a joke and I tell it in my dream, or I'm like slightly lucid. And so I remember it and I'm going through the night being like, oh my God, this joke is so funny. And I had one about Hungry Hippo that you're now reminding me of. And in my dream, it was like, how is this not a thing? Is it trademarked? I need to research this in the morning. This is the best joke I've literally ever come up with. I will go to my grave and be known for this joke. And what is it? And I woke up and I'm like, this is the best joke. And then I let a minute pass and I'm like, no, it's not. And all it is this.
So you remember the joke. I thought you were going to say it. I forgot the joke. Okay.
It's not even a joke, right? It is. I mean, it's literally not even a joke. It was calling Hungry Hippo Hangry Hippo because they're hungry and angry, and hangry's a word. So I'm like, why don't they call it Hangry Hippo?
Hangry Hippo.
I spent like an obscene amount of time throughout my dreams being like, this is the best joke ever. Not very disappointing.
Well, what's not disappointing is that you're maximizing your sleep time to workshop your jokes so that you're not wasting, except for during this podcast, you're not wasting real life to workshop Hangry Hippo, which isn't unfunny, but I don't think you're going to be getting a Hollywood star for it.
No, not at all. And I must have like an inflated sense of self that my dream audience is like, oh, you're amazing. That was the best joke ever. And I was on like Conan and all the late night shows because of it, right?
I'm with you.
These are my dreams. Hangry Hippo.
So I have a PSA for something I found, and they say necessity is the mother of invention, and
an infomercial or a PSA, because PSA is usually associated with like something that will be beneficial to you, like for your mental health or
not
like,
for your mental health. I say it's not an infomercial because I don't own the product, but a PSA is for a public service announcement that will benefit others who may not know about this service.
Okay,
So I
okay,
do
what
think
is
it's
it?
I'm sticking to my original thought.
Okay.
It's a PSA.
Okay.
So this service is to ship luggage that you don't want to ship conventionally through UPS or FedEx, because Arthur has all of these duffel bags that he's trying to send home before he goes into his next job out west, which is basically trail maintenance, and he'll be camping. So he wants to really minimize everything that he's got. So he wanted to ship home 2 huge duffel bags. And I shipped a duffel bag out to him about 8 months ago. And I took it to UPS, and they boxed up this thing, and it cost a ridiculous
An arm and a
amount.
leg, yeah.
And it only weighed, it wasn't even a lot of stuff. It was probably like 25 pounds worth of stuff. He's going to have 2 full duffel bags of stuff. And I thought, there's got to be a better way, right? If I'm thinking this. So I did a quick Google search and said shipping duffel bags, and found that there are a bunch of sites. I landed on one called Lugless, Lugless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way for, it's really was intended for if you're flying somewhere and you don't want to have your bags with you and you want to ship them ahead of time, or even golf clubs, whatever you have, you can ship them ahead of time at a very competitive rate. They will show up at your hotel or at the airport or wherever you're going at the same time or right before you get there. So I'm like, what? So I do a little, I go in and I say when I'm arriving, which he's not really arriving, and I figure out it is so much cheaper. I think it was $35 a bag for a 50-pound bag.
It's like a flat fee.
Yeah. It's a flat
wow.
fee. As long as it's not over 50 pounds, there's another fee for over that. All he has to do is, and so I signed him up. He printed off his forms. He took
and it's still, they use FedEx and UPS.
And they use FedEx and UPS.
How is that? I don't understand.
It's amazing. Yeah. And so what they do is they ship it as if you're checking luggage. So he didn't have to box anything up. He printed off his label. He went to a UPS store. He got something called a fly tag, which is basically just a stick-on luggage tag like you would get at the airport if you were flying.
Yeah.
And he shipped them home, and they'll be here Monday.
Wow.
I mean, you can't beat that. $35 a bag. It comes to me. I will say I paid $10 extra total, so $5 a bag for it to come to a residential address versus going to, I guess, an airport or a hotel. So, but worth it. I
wonder if they can make it cheaper because they do it in bulk, right? So they're getting the bulk pricing. Like it's a company that ships out multiple packages. They get a discount, or they have some sort of deal through FedEx or UPS. So that's how they must incorporate that low price.
Yeah. Well, and they were saying, I mean, they had a whole section on if you're going on a golf tournament and you want to ship your golf clubs, if you're going back to school and want to ship your boxes, anything.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant service. So,
so
there's
smart.
my PSA.
I'm wondering why, I guess camp wouldn't be able to do that because it's so far away from the airport, right?
Well, but if they would deliver them to camp.
Right. Because you can ship. Maybe that they do have that through camp, because they have, like, if you're shipping your luggage, here's information for that. And we just have never clicked on that because we don't ship luggage.
Because you're so close and you drive. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I just thought, and I will tell you, I can't remember the exact price, but when I shipped that original duffel that weighed half that, it was over $100 to ship it to him. And he needed his stuff, so I'm like, fine.
Right.
But there's just no way I was going to pay over $200 or $300 for him to ship his stuff back. So $35, though, that's competitive with if you were going to fly and had to pay for your luggage. That's exactly what they base it on.
This is why people sell their furniture before they move, because it's sometimes cheaper to sell your furniture and buy new furniture.
Yeah. 100%.
Than it is to pay for moving.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to scrap all the furniture in your house and redo your house instead of moving. I'm all with that too.
Yeah. We have a couch that I'm excited to get rid of, but I can't until we have no dogs. Right. So I'm like, what's the point of me getting a new couch? You know what I did also? I made the mistake of getting white comforters for my bed and Ruby's, and we just can't, not with children and dogs.
Not with dogs.
And even if I keep Kabu, who is our chocolate lab, off of the furniture of the beds, which Milo does not get on the bed, but she does, because at her previous home she probably did that. But we've got Georgia red clay that's now stained all over it, and I'm like, I need to go get some comforters that are the color of Georgia red clay.
I wonder how many times you said the words Georgia red clay in our podcast. I feel like that's one of your favorite phrases. Georgia red clay.
Georgia red clay. We don't just have dirt in our yard. We've got Georgia red clay. Well, thanks for listening to the latest episode of Sis and Tell podcast. I wanted to give a big old shout out to Joel and Kai, 2 of our Sis and Tell fans. Thank you for being a part of the fam.
Thank you, Joel and Kai. We love you. As always, this has been Amanda and Alison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.